Jody Magnus is a testament to his engineering genius. She has excavated inside Herodium and identified its unique design.
There are actually two palace complexes at Herodium. There was a palace or palace buildings on top of the mountain, sort of in the mouth of the volcano, if you wish, and a palace complex at the foot of the mountain. And that complex includes an enormous pool that had a pavilion in the middle of it, and the pool would have been used for swimming and perhaps even for boating, and was supplied by aqueduct from springs that were located some miles away.
The sheer scale of Herodium has become apparent in the last 30 years, thanks to the work of archaeologists like Ehud Netzer. He discovered royal apartments, guest rooms, bathhouses, arcades and gardens where Herod could entertain his family and his entire court.
A typical day of Herod at Herodium would maybe he started with swimming. There was a large swimming pool. The morning is very pleasant in the summer to swim. I guess after a good breakfast, he would meet many of the friends. It seems that the site accommodated dozens, if not hundreds, of family members, and no doubt maybe some nice dinners and a lot of wine from Italy.
Herodium wasn't unique. "40 miles to the south, by the shores of the Dead Sea, is the most impressive of all Herod's palaces, Masada. It towers 1,000 feet above the Judean desert. Three stories high, the palace is a sensational feat of building. Josephus writes that Herod was directly involved at every stage in the design and the location of his buildings. Achievements like this suggest a highly cultured man, a judgment that's difficult to square with his reputation as a child killer. But there's more than meets the eye at Masada and Herodium. Both palaces say much about Herod's state of mind. What's striking about Masada is that it's more than just a palace. Built on a treacherous mountain in a vast desert, it is an unassailable fortress. A place where Herod could feel safe. It seems the king was terrified of something, and excavations here have revealed the depth of his insecurity. Archaeologists have unearthed large storage rooms for food. The water cisterns are the biggest ever discovered from the Roman Empire. Herod had prepared Masada to withstand a very long siege.
Well, we know that in addition to storing food and water on top of Masada, that Herod also stored an arsenal of weapons. We do know also that Herod, of course, had soldiers stationed on top of the mountain, and in fact, after he died, the mountain continued to be occupied by a small garrison of soldiers.
Even the family palace of Herodium is deceptive, for it too is in fact a fortress, another place born of deep insecurity. The steep sides meant Herod could defend it with just a few soldiers. Precisely how was revealed when archaeologists found these huge stones at its base.
The big stone, we call them rolling stones, nothing to do with pop music. We call them rolling stones, and this is if a group of soldiers would try to go as a group up, or few ones, you roll them from top, and then it's very frightening as well as effective if it hits the people.
Herod's fear was so strong that he built more than 20 fortresses across his kingdom. Signals could be sent between the fortresses with mirrors.
They mirror the architecture of his paranoid mind. He had these deep fears of being attacked, of being vanquished, of having his titles taken from him. And the buildings speak to that fear quite directly.
Perhaps Herod felt so threatened that he would even kill the children of Bethlehem to protect his interests. But what was he so afraid of? Documents from the period reveal a widespread desire among Jews for a different kind of king. They believed a great leader, a Messiah, would be chosen by God to overthrow Herod and become the true king of the Jews. Biblical historian Warren Carter has studied the expectations of the times. In Herod's day, everyone knew the scriptures and their prophecies.
We do know that in some Jewish traditions during the time of Herod, there was some expectations among some people of a Messiah. We have some psalms written in the name of Solomon that look for a king in the line of David who will come to Jerusalem and without using military means will somehow expel the Romans. Herod was aware of these expectations and was aware of the threat that they posed.
The Jews had every reason to question Herod's claim to be their legitimate king. They expected their king to be a full-blooded Jew, and many were suspicious of Herod's Jewish origins.
Herod's Jewishness comes from the conversion of his grandfather. Herod thus is a third-generation Jew, and he acquires his commitment to Judaism as a result of that conversion process rather than through bloodline. Herod himself did not have a drop of Jewish blood in him, though he was Jewish by religion.
In fact, Josephus wrote that much of the population looked down on Herod, especially those from old families. This is why Herod married Princess Mariamne. As a member of the Jewish royal family, she strengthened his claim to the title King of the Jews. Fear of his subjects explains why Herod built such an unusual network of fortresses across his kingdom.
Herod fortified Masada and other palaces as a sort of a fortification system against an internal threat, his Jewish population, because the Jewish population did not like him, did not accept him as a legitimate king, and he lived his life in fear that one day they would rise up in revolt and try to kill him.
Herod was clearly worried. There's evidence that he went out of his way to flatter his Jewish subjects. He worked hard to gain popularity and public approval. This is the Western Wall, one of the oldest landmarks in Jerusalem. Jews from all over the world come here to pray. This wall is all that's left of a spectacular building masterminded by Herod. Precise descriptions by Josephus have allowed architects to recreate the entire building.